I watched my sister slip the envelope into her purse. It was 3 hours after we'd buried our grandmother, 3 hours after I'd thrown dirt onto her casket, and felt my heart shatter into 1,000 pieces, 3 hours after the worst day of my life. And my sister was stealing. Look, I know how that sounds. Dramatic, right? But I need you to understand what happened that day, because what started as a funeral turned into a war that would rip my family apart and force me to make a choice I never thought I'd have to make. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. We were at Grandma Rose's house, the same house where I'd spent every summer as a kid, where the kitchen always smelled like cinnamon and vanilla, where I'd learned to bake bread and play cards, and believe that family actually meant something. People were everywhere that day. Distant cousins I barely recognized, neighbors bringing casseroles nobody would eat, my mother's church friends speaking in those hushed, respectful tones that make you want to scream. She lived a good life. She's in a better place. At least she's not suffering. I wanted to tell them all to shut up. She wasn't just some old woman who'd lived a good life. She was my grandmother. The only person who'd ever really seen me, who'd never judged me, never made me feel like I wasn't enough. And now she was gone. I was standing in the hallway, trying not to fall apart in front of everyone, when I saw it. My sister Claire came out of Grandma's study. That room was sacred, where Grandma kept all her important papers, her memories, everything that mattered, and Claire's face was flushed. Guilty. Her eyes darted around the room like she was checking to see if anyone was watching. But I was watching. I saw her hand move to her purse. I saw something white, an envelope, large and official-looking, disappear inside. Our eyes met across that hallway. For just a second, I saw pure panic flash across her face. Then it vanished, replaced by that perfect smile she'd spent years perfecting. The one that looked warm but never quite reached her eyes. "Hey," she said, walking toward me like nothing had happened. "How are you holding up?" My throat went tight. "What were you doing in Grandma's study?" "In where?" She blinked innocently. "The study. I just saw you come out. I was looking for tissues." She touched my arm, her fingers cold. "This day is so hard, you know. I can't believe she's really gone." I looked at her purse. She noticed. "What?" she asked. "Nothing." But it wasn't nothing. And here's the thing about my sister, Claire has always been good at lying, better than me. She's had more practice. Growing up she was the golden child, straight A student, cheerleader, prom queen, full scholarship to a prestigious university. She married Richard, a cardiac surgeon, right after graduation, 2 beautiful kids, 5-bedroom house with a pool. Me? I was the disappointment. Barely graduated high school. Got divorced at 27, worked at an art gallery, making barely enough to cover rent. No kids, no impressive career, no life that made my parents proud when they talked about me at dinner parties. But you know who never made me feel like a failure? Grandma Rose. She loved me exactly as I was. Messy, imperfect, real. And standing there in that hallway, watching my sister lie to my face with an envelope hidden in her $2,000 purse, I knew something was very, very wrong. "I need some air," I said, pulling away from Claire's touch. "Do you want me to come with you?" "No." I walked out onto the back porch. The same porch where I'd sat with Grandma 1,000 times. My hands were shaking. I gripped the railing and tried to breathe. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe that envelope was something innocent. A sympathy card. Paperwork from the funeral home. Anything else. But deep down I knew better. I'd seen the guilt written all over her face. Then I heard footsteps behind me. "My mother." "There you are," she said. Her voice was strained, tired. She'd aged 10 years in the past week. "People are asking about the will." I turned to face her. "The will? Your grandmother's lawyer called yesterday. He said Rose had everything in order, all the documents prepared. He's supposed to come by this week to read it officially. But," she trailed off, wrapping her cardigan tighter, "I can't find it." My heart started pounding. Can't find what? The copy she kept here. She always kept copies of important documents in her study, everything labeled, filed perfectly. But the will, Mom's voice cracked. It's not there. I've been looking for over an hour. The folder that should have it is completely empty. I looked back through the window into the house. I could see Claire in the living room, talking to our aunt, laughing at something. Her purse hung casually over her shoulder. Maybe she moved it, Mom continued. Maybe in her last days she was confused. She wasn't confused, I said quietly. Grandma was sharp until the very end. You know that. Then where is it, Harper? Where would she have put it? I didn't answer, because I knew exactly where it was. It was in my sister's purse, and I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do about it. But to understand why this mattered so much, why that envelope felt like a knife in my back, I need to tell you about my family, about the divide that had been forming for decades. See, Claire and I weren't always enemies. When we were kids, we were close. We shared a room, we told each other secrets. We were sisters, but somewhere along the way, we became strangers, competitors, living proof that you can share DNA and still be worlds apart. Claire was always everything our parents wanted: perfect grades, captain of the volleyball team. She knew exactly what to say, to make people proud. She followed the script perfectly. Good school, good marriage, good life. I couldn't follow that script if someone held a gun to my head. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to travel. I wanted to figure out who I was before committing to some predetermined path that someone else had written. My parents didn't understand that. My father especially. You're wasting your potential, he told me more times than I can count. Look at your sister, she knows what she wants. She's building something. Translation: why can't you be more like Claire? I tried for a while. I really did. I went to community college, got a business degree. I hated, married Marcus because he seemed stable and responsible, the kind of man who would finally make my parents look at me with approval, instead of disappointment. The marriage lasted 4 years, 4 years of slowly suffocating, 4 years of Marcus wanting me to be someone quieter, smaller, more convenient, 4 years of losing myself piece by piece. When I left him, my parents were devastated. He was good to you, my mother said, her voice tight with disapproval. He provided for you. What more did you want? I wanted to breathe, I thought. But I didn't say it. I never could say the real things to my mother. Only Grandma Rose understood. Good for you, she'd said. When I told her about the divorce, we were in her kitchen. We were always in her kitchen. She was teaching me how to make her famous apple pie. Marriage is supposed to add to your life, not subtract from it. If he was making you smaller, you did the right thing. Mom and Dad don't think so. Grandma's hands moved expertly through the dough. Your mother married your father because he was what her parents wanted. She never asked herself what she wanted. Don't make the same mistake, sweetheart. Life is too short to spend it being someone else's version of you. After the divorce, I moved into a tiny apartment, got a job at an art gallery that didn't pay well, but made me happy, started painting again, built a life that felt real, even if it wasn't impressive. Claire, meanwhile, continued to be perfect. Or so everyone thought. I'd started noticing cracks though, little things. The way her smile would falter when someone complimented her life. The way she drank a little too much wine at family dinners. The way she'd snap at her kids over nothing, then immediately apologize with tears in her eyes. About a year before Grandma died, I'd caught her in the bathroom at Thanksgiving. She was reapplying lipstick with shaking hands. Are you okay? I'd asked. I'm fine, but her voice had an edge to it. Why wouldn't I be fine? I have everything right. Perfect husband, perfect kids, perfect life. The bitterness in those words had shocked me. Claire, don't. She turned to face me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I'm just tired. The kids have been sick, and work has been crazy, and she'd stopped herself. I'm fine, really, but she wasn't fine. Looking back now, I wonder if that was when she started planning, when the resentment started turning into something darker, because here's what I didn't know then. Claire and Richard were drowning in debt, $300,000, the medical practice was failing. They'd been living beyond their means for years, keeping up appearances while their bank accounts emptied. They were 3 months behind on their mortgage, and my grandmother's estate was worth $1.2 million. I didn't know any of that yet, standing on that porch the day of the funeral. All I knew was that my sister had taken something that didn't belong to her, and she was lying about it. I went back inside. The house was emptying out. People were leaving, offering final condolences, promising to check in. Claire was getting ready to leave too. She was hugging relatives, saying something about needing to get home to the kids. I walked straight up to her. "Can I talk to you? Alone?" She looked surprised. "Now?" "Yes, now." Something flickered in her eyes. Fear? Anger? I couldn't tell. But she nodded. "Okay, let's go to my car." We walked outside together into the fading afternoon light. Her BMW was parked in the driveway, gleaming and perfect like everything else in her life appeared to be. She turned to face me. "What's this about, Harper?" I looked directly at her purse. "I want to know what you took from Grandma's study." The color drained from her face. Just for a second. Then she recovered, that practiced smile sliding back into place. "I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me, Claire. I saw you. You took something and put it in your purse. You're mistaken." "Am I?" My voice was rising now. "Then you won't mind showing me what's in there. This is ridiculous. Show me." We stared at each other. Sisters who'd become strangers. "No," she said finally. "I don't have to explain myself to you. You're upset. We all are. Grandma just died, and you're looking for someone to blame, but I'm not your enemy, Harper." "Then why are you acting like one?" Her jaw tightened. "I have to go. Richard is waiting with the kids." She got into her car before I could say anything else. I watched her drive away, my heart pounding with rage and grief, and something I couldn't even name. Behind me I heard my mother's voice. "What was that about?" I turned. She was standing on the porch, watching Claire's car disappear. "Nothing," I said. Because what could I tell her? That I thought her perfect daughter was a thief? "Harper." Mom's voice was exhausted. "Please, today has been hard enough. Don't make it harder." "I'm not the one making it hard." I wanted to scream, but I just nodded. "I'm going to head home." I drove home in a daze. My apartment felt cold and empty. I sat on my couch, still in my funeral dress, and stared at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Claire. "I know you're upset. We all are, but making accusations isn't going to bring Grandma back. Let's just get through this together. Family has to stick together. Love you." I stared at those words. Family has to stick together. The hypocrisy made me sick. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Grandma's face. Not the way she'd looked in the hospital those last days, pale and fragile, but the way she'd been when I was young, strong, laughing, alive. I got up at 2 a.m. and made tea the way she'd taught me. Real tea, not from a bag, steeped properly, and I let myself remember. I was 7 years old the first time Grandma Rose really saw me. My parents had sent Claire and me to stay with her for 2 weeks. Claire had been furious. She'd wanted to go to cheerleading camp, but I'd been thrilled. Claire spent that whole visit on the phone with friends or reading magazines in her room. But I followed Grandma everywhere. Into the garden, into the kitchen, into her art studio. A converted sunroom filled with paintings and the smell of turpentine. "You paint?" I'd asked, amazed. "I used to," she'd said. "Before I had your father, I wanted to go to art school. I was even accepted to a program in New York." "What happened?" "Life happened. I met your grandfather. We fell in love. He wanted to settle down, start a family, and back then women didn't really get to do both. You chose career or family. Do you wish you'd chosen art?" She'd looked at me for a long moment. No one's ever asked me that before. She picked up a paintbrush, turning it over in her hands. I don't regret your father, or this life, but sometimes I wonder who I might have been. You can still create now, I'd said with a child's simple logic. She'd laughed. You're right, I can. And you know what? So can you. Do you like to draw, Harper? I love it. But I'm not very good. Let me tell you a secret. She'd knelt down to my level. No one is good at first. Being good comes from practice. But being an artist, that comes from in here. She'd tapped my chest, right over my heart. And I can tell you have it. From that day on, we painted together every summer. She never corrected me, or told me I was doing it wrong. She just let me explore, experiment, make messes. She made me feel like my creativity mattered, like I mattered. When I went through my divorce years later, Grandma had been the one who'd helped me move. She'd been 78 years old, but she'd shown up with boxes and packing tape and fierce determination. You're making the right choice, she'd said, as we packed. I know it doesn't feel like it now, but one day you'll look back and be grateful you had the courage to leave. Everyone thinks I'm making a mistake. Everyone isn't living your life. You are. She'd stopped packing and looked at me. Harper, other people's opinions of your life mean nothing. They're not in your body, feeling what you feel. They're not going to be there at 2 a.m. when you're lying awake next to someone who makes you feel alone. You're the only one who has to live with your choices, so make choices you can live with. About a year ago, I'd noticed she was slowing down, getting tired more easily, forgetting little things. Maybe you should see a doctor, I'd suggested. I'm 83 years old, Harper. My body is entitled to be tired, but she'd gone anyway. That's when they found the heart condition. Congestive heart failure. Her heart was wearing out. The doctor had been honest, she had maybe 2 years, maybe less, she'd told me first, before my parents. Before Claire. Don't cry, she'd said when I'd started sobbing. I've had a good life, a long life. I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm afraid of losing you. I know, sweetheart. But you won't lose me, not really. I'll be in every painting you make, every time you stand up for yourself, every time you choose your truth over someone else's expectations. In those last months, I'd spent every free moment with her. I'd taken leave from work, basically moved into her house. Claire had visited once a week, always with the kids, always busy, always leaving after an hour or two. Don't you have your own life to live? She'd asked me once, her tone sharp enough to sting. This is my life, I'd said. Being here with her. Well, some of us have responsibilities, jobs, children. The implication was clear. You don't have anything important, that's why you can afford to play nursemaid. But Grandma had seen it differently. Harper is giving me the gift of her time. She'd told Claire. There's nothing more valuable than that. Claire had looked away, her jaw tight. 3 weeks before Grandma died, she'd called me into her study, just me. I need to tell you something, she'd said, about my will. Grandma, we don't need to. Yes, we do. Sit down. I'd sat, my heart pounding. I've left the house to you, she'd said simply. I'd stared at her. What? This house. When I'm gone, it's yours. But what about Claire? What about Dad? Your father is provided for. Claire is provided for. They're both getting substantial inheritances. But the house is for you. Grandma, I can't, you can. And you will. Harper, you're the only one who's ever really loved this house. The way I do. You're the only one who will take care of it properly. Claire would just sell it, put the money toward that ridiculous mortgage of hers. How do you know about their mortgage? I'm old, not blind. I know she and Richard are in trouble, but giving her this house won't solve those problems. It'll just be a band-aid on a wound that needs stitches. She's going to be so angry, probably. Grandma had taken my hand. But I'm not leaving you the house to hurt Claire. I'm leaving it to you, because it belongs with you, because you understand what it means. Now sitting in my kitchen in the middle of the night, I understood what had happened. Claire had known, or suspected, that Grandma had left me the house, and she couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand that the family failure, was getting something valuable, something that should have been hers, so she'd taken the will. I picked up my phone and called Grandma's lawyer. It was 3 a.m., but I left a message. Mr. Peterson, this is Harper Bennett, Rose's granddaughter. I need to talk to you as soon as possible. It's urgent. Then I did something crazy. I drove to Claire's house. It was 3:30 in the morning. When I rang her doorbell, all the lights were off. The neighborhood was silent. I rang again, and again, then I started pounding on the door. Finally a light came on. Then another. The door opened. Richard stood there in pajama pants and a t-shirt, looking confused and irritated. Harper, what the hell? I need to talk to Claire. It's almost 4 in the morning. I know what time it is. Where is she? She's sleeping. We're all sleeping. Richard. Claire's voice came from behind him. She appeared at the top of the stairs, pulling a robe around herself. Her face was pale. It's okay. I'll talk to her. Claire, you don't have to. It's fine. Go check on the kids. Richard gave us both uncomfortable looks, but backed away. Claire came down slowly. She opened the door wider. You want to come in? No. I want you to tell me the truth. She stepped outside, closing the door behind her. We stood on her front porch, two sisters who used to share secrets, now barely able to look at each other. What truth? She asked quietly. You took Grandma's will. I know you did. Harper, don't lie to me again. I can't take any more lies. Not today. Not from you. Claire's face crumpled. For a second, I thought she was going to cry, but then she pulled herself together. You don't understand, she whispered. Then explain it to me. I can't. Why not? Because you'll judge me. You'll think I'm horrible. I already think you're horrible. You stole from our grandmother on the day of her funeral. So yeah, Claire, I think you're pretty horrible right now. She flinched like I'd hit her. She's dead. The words burst out of her, loud and harsh. She doesn't need the money anymore. But I do. We do. Richard and I are drowning. Harper, we're $300,000 in debt. The bank is going to foreclose on our house next month. My kids are going to lose their home. Unless you steal from their great-grandmother? It's not stealing. It's survival. And it's not like the rest of you need it. Dad makes plenty. You don't even have kids to worry about. But me, I have 2 children, who depend on me. What did the will say, Claire? She stopped, looked away. What did it say? She left you the house, Claire whispered, and half of her savings. Dad gets a quarter. I get a quarter. I did the math quickly. If Grandma's estate was worth $1.2 million, like she'd told me, and the house was worth $600,000, that meant her savings were another $600,000. I'd get $900,000. My father would get $150,000. Claire would get $150,000. So your plan was what? I asked. Hide the will and claim she died without one. Force it to be divided equally. No one would have been hurt. You'd all still get money. Except I'd lose the house. The house she wanted me to have. It's just a house. Harper? No. It's not. My voice broke. It was her house. It's where I spent every summer. Where I learned who I was. Where I felt loved. I couldn't finish. The tears were coming too fast. Claire's face softened. I'm sorry. I am. But please try to understand. I'm desperate. My children, your children will survive. You know what they won't survive. Learning that their mother is a thief. I didn't steal from a dying woman. She's already gone. Don't you dare. My voice was shaking with rage. Don't you dare. Try to justify this. Grandma's trusted you. She loved you. And the second she was in the ground, you betrayed her, says the perfect granddaughter. There was venom in her voice now. You were always her favorite. Don't think I didn't notice. Every summer, every holiday, she'd light up when you walked in. But me, I was just the successful one who didn't need her special attention. That's not true. It is true. You got her heart. I got polite approval. And now you get her house too. You get everything and I get to watch my life fall apart. Give me the will, Claire. No, give it to me or I'm calling the police. She laughed bitterly. And telling them what? That your grieving sister took a document from her grandmother's house. You have no proof. It would be your word against mine. And who do you think they'll believe? The successful pillar of the community, or the divorced gallery worker, with no stability? She was right. And we both knew it. I'll find a way. I said I'll prove what you did. Good luck. She turned to go inside. Go home, Harper. Get some sleep. We're done talking. No, we're not. Like it or not. We're family. She paused in the doorway. The funeral was beautiful, wasn't it? Grandma's would have liked it. Then she closed the door in my face. I stood there shaking with anger. Then I walked back to my car and drove home as the sun started to rise. Mr. Peterson called me back at 9 a.m. Miss Bennet, he said warmly. I got your message. I'm very sorry for your loss. Thank you. I need to talk to you about the will. It's missing. Silence. Then missing? Someone took it from my grandmother's house. I see. His voice became more careful. Miss Bennet, I need you to know that the copy your grandmother kept was not the legal document. I have the original here in my office. Whatever happened to her personal copy doesn't affect the validity of the will. Relief flooded through me. So it doesn't matter that it's gone? Legally? No. But, he hesitated. Can I speak frankly? Please. Your grandmother came to see me about 6 months ago. She made changes to her will, and she was very specific about her wishes. She was also concerned about what? She didn't say explicitly, but she asked me several questions about what would happen if someone tried to contest the will, or if the document went missing, or if family members claimed it never existed. My heart sank. She knew something like this might happen. I can't speculate about what your grandmother was thinking, but I can tell you this. She was very thorough, very careful. Mr. Peterson, I need to see that will, today. Miss Bennet, the formal reading. My sister took the copy from Grandma's house. She's planning to hide it or destroy it. She wants to claim Grandma died without a will, so the estate will be divided differently. I need to know what I'm dealing with. Another long silence. Then, can you come to my office this afternoon? Say, 2 p.m. I'll be there. Mr. Peterson's office was in a restored Victorian house, very fitting for Grandma, who'd always appreciated beautiful old things. He was in his 60s, with kind eyes and a gentle manner. We sat in his office, surrounded by law books. Before we begin, he said, I want you to understand that what I'm about to show you is confidential. I'm only sharing it now, because of the unusual circumstances, and because your grandmother specifically listed you as the primary beneficiary and executor. I'm the executor? Yes. She felt you would be the most level-headed and trustworthy. He pulled out a thick document. This is your grandmother's last will and testament, witnessed and notarized. Legally binding. I took it with shaking hands. The legal language was dense, but the key points were clear. The house went to me, along with all its contents. There was a trust fund for property taxes and maintenance, $100,000, of the remaining $500,000 in liquid assets. I got $250,000, my father got $150,000, Claire got $100,000. But there was more. Conditions, stipulations. What does this mean? I asked, pointing to a section. Contestation clause. Ah, your grandmother was quite clever. She included a no contest clause. If anyone challenges the will, they forfeit their entire inheritance. It's designed to discourage people from tying up the estate in court. So if Claire tries to contest it, she loses the $100,000 she would have received. I kept reading. Then I saw something that made my breath catch. Video testimony. I read aloud. What is this? Mr. Peterson's expression was somber. Your grandmother recorded a video. A statement of her intentions. She said it was insurance, in case anyone questioned her mental capacity, or claimed she'd been unduly influenced. My hands started trembling. Where is this video? He pulled out a flash drive. It's on here. She asked me to keep it safe. She said if there was ever any dispute, I was to make sure the family saw it. Can I watch it now? Are you sure? It might be emotional. I need to see it. He set up his laptop, inserted the flash drive and pressed play. Then he quietly left the room. The video started, and there was Grandma Rose. She was sitting in her living room, in her favorite chair. This had been filmed maybe 8 or 9 months ago. She looked tired but alert, determined. Hello, she said to the camera. If you're watching this, it means I'm gone, and it probably means there's some dispute about my will, so I want to make a few things clear. She folded her hands in her lap. First, I want to state that I am of sound mind. I'm not being coerced or manipulated. These are my decisions, based on my own judgment. Second, I want to explain why I've distributed my estate the way I have. Some people might think it's unfair. They might think I favored one grandchild over another, but that's not what this is about. Claire, if you're watching this, I want you to know that I love you. I have always loved you, but I also know that you and Richard are struggling financially. I know about the debt, the mortgage, the bad investments, and I know that if I left you a large inheritance, you'd use it to plug holes in a sinking ship. You'd pay off debts, then create new ones. Because the problem isn't lack of money, the problem is the lifestyle you've been trying to maintain, the need to appear successful, to have the biggest house and the newest car, and the most impressive vacation photos. Money won't fix that. Only you can fix that by changing your relationship with success and worth. I'm leaving you $100,000. It's enough to give you a cushion, to give you time to make real changes, to downsize, to live within your means, to teach your children that happiness doesn't come from things. Harper, my darling girl, I'm leaving you the house because I know you'll love it. I know you'll take care of it. I know you'll fill it with art and life and joy. But more than that, I'm leaving it to you because you've never asked me for anything. You've never looked at me and seen dollar signs. You've just seen me, loved me for who I am. The house is my gift to you. My way of saying thank you for all the summers, all the conversations, all the moments we shared. To my son David, I'm leaving you $150,000. You don't need more than that. You're financially stable. This money is for you to enjoy. Travel, do the things you always said you'd do someday. Don't wait. Someday comes faster than you think. Finally, I want to address anyone thinking about contesting this will. Don't. These are my wishes, carefully considered and legally documented. If you can't respect them, then you didn't really love me. You loved what you thought I could give you. Life is short, too short for resentment and bitterness and family fights over money. I hope you'll accept my decisions with grace. I hope you'll support each other. I hope you'll remember that family is more important than any inheritance. But if you can't do that, if someone is watching this because they tried to hide or destroy or contest my will, then know this: I saw it coming. I prepared for it, and I'm disappointed, not angry, just disappointed, because I raised better people than that, or I thought I did. I love you all. Be kind to each other, and remember me with joy, not grief. I had a wonderful life, now go live yours. The video ended. I sat there, tears streaming down my face, and watched it again. And that's when I knew exactly what I had to do. I called my mother from the lawyer's office. Harper, is everything okay? No, Mom, I need you to organize a family meeting. Tonight, you, Dad, Claire, Richard, and me. At Grandma's house. Tonight. Harper, we're exhausted. This can't wait. Tell Claire it's about Grandma's estate. Tell her it's urgent. What's going on? I'll explain tonight. Please, Mom, trust me. She agreed, though I could hear the worry in her voice. Okay. 7 o'clock. After I hung up, Mr. Peterson came back in. What are you planning? What Grandma would want. To tell the truth, Miss Bennet, family disputes over estates can get very ugly. I'm not planning to start a war, I'm planning to honor my grandmother's wishes. There's a difference. He nodded slowly. I can be there, as a neutral third party. Sometimes having a lawyer present helps keep things civil. Thank you, that would help. At 6:45, I pulled up to Grandma's house. My hands were shaking as I unlocked the door. The house smelled like her, lavender and vanilla. It felt wrong being here without her. My parents arrived first. Mom looked worried. Dad looked irritated. What's this about? He asked. Your mother said it was urgent. Let's wait for everyone. Claire and Richard arrived at exactly 7 o'clock. Claire looked tense. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Mr. Peterson arrived with his briefcase. Who's this? My father asked. Mr. Peterson, Grandma's lawyer. He's here to clarify some things. I don't understand, Mom said. Why all the drama? Sit down, I said quietly. Please, all of you. They did slowly. Confusion on their faces. I stood in front of them, my laptop in my hands. Yesterday, I began. Something happened that I need to address. After the funeral, I saw Claire take a document from Grandma's study. She put it in her purse and lied about it when I confronted her. Harper, for God's sake, Claire started. I'm not finished. That document was Grandma's will. Claire took it because she didn't like what it said. She thought if she hid it, the estate would be divided differently. That's not true. Claire's face was red. She's lying. Am I? Then show everyone what's in your purse. Or better yet, what's in your house right now. Where's the will, Claire? This is insane, Richard said. You can't accuse my wife. I can, and I am, because it's true. My father stood up. That's enough, Harper, making wild accusations. They're not wild accusations, Dad. They're facts. And I can prove them. Hey, turn to Mr. Peterson. Can you please explain about the will? Mr. Peterson cleared his throat. Mrs. Rose Bennet executed her last will and testament 9 months ago. I have the original in my possession. The document is legally binding and properly witnessed. But we couldn't find the copy, Mom said. The one Rose kept here. The copy was taken, I said, looking at Claire, by someone who didn't want anyone to see what it said. I'm not cold. I'm realistic. We've been bailing them out for years, small amounts here and there. But it never ends because we keep smoothing things over. I'd never heard my father talk like this. Harper, Mom said, turning to me. She's your sister. Maybe you could share. Mom. Don't, Dad interrupted. Don't put that on Harper. Rose made her decision. We need to respect it. After Mr. Peterson left, I sat with my parents. I don't want to tear the family apart, I said. I know, sweetheart, Mom said. She looked exhausted. What do I do? Dad looked at me. You do what Rose wanted. You take care of this house. You use the money wisely. You live your life. And you let Claire deal with her own choices. But she's my sister. Yes, and she stole from your grandmother. That's not your fault. That's on her. That night, after they left, I stayed at the house. I walked through every room, touching things, remembering, this was mine now. I should have felt happy, grateful. Instead I just felt tired, and sad, and alone. My phone buzzed. Claire, I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted. You were always the favorite. Enjoy the house. I hope it was worth destroying our family. I started to type a response, then deleted it. What could I say? Another message came through. This time from Richard. For what it's worth. I'm sorry, Claire's not thinking clearly. The stress has been overwhelming. Please don't judge her too harshly. I appreciated it, but it didn't change anything. I fell asleep in Grandma's house, surrounded by her things, trying not to think about the look on Claire's face. Logic told me, I wasn't the one who'd broken the family. Claire had done that, when she'd slipped that envelope into her purse. But logic and feelings are different things. And lying there in the dark, I felt like I'd lost more than I'd gained. I'd lost my sister. I'd lost the illusion that family was unconditional. All I had left was the house, the money, and the echoing words of a grandmother, who'd loved me but couldn't protect me from the fallout. The next morning, Claire brought the will back. She didn't come to the door, she just left it in the mailbox, with a note. Here, take everything. Mr. Peterson confirmed it was the original copy. This could have gotten very complicated. I'm glad your sister saw reason, but she hadn't seen reason. She'd been forced into compliance. There's a difference. Over the next few days, word spread through the family. The details varied depending on who was telling it. But the core was the same. Claire had tried to steal the inheritance, and Harper had exposed her. Some people sided with me. Rose knew what she was doing. Others were sympathetic to Claire. She's going through a hard time. My mother called every day. Claire won't talk to me. She won't answer my calls. Harper, maybe if you reached out and said what? That you forgive her. Mom, she's not even sorry. She's just angry. She got caught. She's embarrassed, humiliated. That's not my fault. I know, but your sister's. Doesn't that mean something? It should have, but every time I thought about reaching out, I remembered her voice at 3:30 a.m. She's dead. She doesn't need the money anymore. I started the process of transferring the house into my name. So much paperwork, so many signatures. I should have been excited. Instead, I felt guilty. My father helped me move my things in. We didn't talk much, but his presence was comforting. Your grandmother would be happy, he said. She wanted you to have this place. I wish it didn't come with all this drama. Inheritances always come with drama. He set down a box. My mother was wise. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew there would be conflict, but she also knew you were the right person for this house. Do you think she was fair? He considered it. Fair isn't the same as equal. Equal would be splitting everything 3 ways. But fair is giving people what they need, what they'll use well, what will help them grow. Your grandmother was fair. That night, alone in the house, I walked through every room. I sat in Grandma's chair, made tea in her kitchen, stood in her art studio, looking at the half-finished painting on the easel. I could finish it, I thought. But that felt presumptuous. My phone rang. Unknown number. Harper? It's Jessica, Claire's friend? Oh, hi. I hope you don't mind me calling. I got your number from your mom. I wanted to talk to you about Claire. My stomach tightened. What about her? I know what happened. Claire told me everything. I'm not calling to take sides. I just wanted you to understand something. I'm listening. Claire has been struggling for a long time. The debt, the pressure to be perfect. It's been eating her alive. When your grandmother died, something in her just broke. She wasn't thinking clearly. That doesn't excuse what she did. No. But maybe it explains it. Your sister isn't a bad person. She's a desperate person, who made a terrible choice. Why are you telling me this? Because I think you two need to talk. Really talk. Just the two of you, honestly. She won't talk to me. She will if you ask the right way. After we hung up, I sat with that for a long time. Could Claire and I find our way back? I sent a text. Can we meet? Just the two of us. No lawyers, no parents. I just want to talk. Please. An hour later my phone buzzed. Okay, tomorrow, 10 a.m. coffee shop on Main Street. I got there 15 minutes early. I was nervous. This was my sister. I shouldn't be nervous to talk to my own sister, but we'd crossed too many lines, broken too much trust. Claire arrived exactly on time. She looked terrible, exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hair in a messy ponytail, the most unput together I'd ever seen her. We ordered coffee and sat in a corner booth. Neither of us spoke. Finally Claire said, I don't know what you want me to say. I want the truth, all of it, not the version you tell other people, the real truth. She laughed bitterly. You want the truth. Fine, I'm drowning. I have been for years. Richard's practice is failing. We took out loans that didn't work out. We bought the house because we thought we needed to look successful, private school for the kids. And now we're $300,000 in debt with no way out. Why didn't you ask for help? From who? And admit I was failing. Her voice cracked. Everyone expects me to be perfect. If I admitted I was failing, what would that make me? Human, I said quietly. Weak. It would make me weak. But you let Grandma down instead. She flinched. Yes, I did. And I'll have to live with that forever. She know what that feels like. She didn't die thinking that. She died before you took the will. But she knew I might. That video proves it. You knew I might. That video proves it. She saw something in me, some weakness, and she was right. Tears streamed down Claire's face. I'd rarely seen her cry. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I'm sorry for what I did, for how I treated you, for being bitter and jealous. You didn't deserve it. You were just being yourself. And I hated you for it, because it was so effortless. It wasn't effortless. I was just willing to be real with her. You always tried to be perfect, even with Grandma, so she never got to know the real you, because the real me is disappointing. No, the real you is human, flawed and scared, just like everyone else, and Grandma would have loved that version too, if you'd let her see it. It doesn't matter now, you didn't ruin everything. Yes, I did. The family is broken. You and I aren't speaking. Even the kids notice. Olivia asked why we don't visit you anymore. What am I supposed to tell her? That her mother is a thief. Tell her the truth. That I got Grandma's house, and you were upset. That we're working through it. That families have conflicts, but love is stronger. Is it? Is love stronger than what I did? I don't know, but I want it to be. We sat in silence, drinking lukewarm coffee. I'm not going to give you the house, I said. That's not what Grandma wanted. But the money, I've been thinking, I want to help you. Claire's head snapped up. What? Not a gift. A loan, with real terms, real interest, but enough to help you get out from under the worst of it. Enough to give you breathing room. Harper, I can't. Yes, you can. But here's the condition. You and Richard sell the house. Downsize, live within your means. No more trying to look successful. Show your kids that happiness doesn't come from things. You'd really do that? After everything, I'd really do that. Because you're my sister, because I believe you can change, because Grandma would want me to give you a real chance. Claire started crying again. But, differently. Relief. Hope. Thank you. I don't deserve this. Probably not, I said, with a small smile. But that's what family is. We talked for another hour, really talked. Maybe for the first time in years. She told me about the pressure, the nights awake worrying, the shame of failing. I told her about my struggles, my divorce, my feelings of inadequacy. I was jealous of you, I admitted. You had the husband, the kids, the house, and I was jealous of you. You had freedom, authenticity, Grandma's unconditional love. We wasted so much time being jealous, instead of being sisters. Yeah, we did. When we left, we hugged, really hugged. And for the first time in years, it felt like maybe we could find our way back. It wouldn't be easy. There was still hurt and damage to repair, but there was also hope. 6 months later, I was sitting on my porch, Grandma's porch, my porch, watching the sunset. So much had changed. Claire and Richard had sold their house. They'd moved into a modest 3-bedroom, cutting their mortgage in half. I'd loaned them $150,000, with a formal contract. They were using it to pay off debts and rebuild. Richard had taken a position at a hospital, steady salary, benefits. Claire had gone back to work part-time. They were learning to live differently. Smaller, simpler, more honestly. It wasn't always easy. Claire still struggled with what people thought. But she was trying. Olivia and Mason had adjusted well. I like our new house better, Olivia had told Claire. It feels cozier. My relationship with Claire was still complicated. We were rebuilding trust slowly, coffee every other week, more texts. trying to be sisters again. As for me, I was living in Grandma's house. I'd left the gallery and started freelancing as an artist, painting every day, teaching art classes from the sunroom. The house was alive again. I'd finished Grandma's last painting. It had taken weeks, studying her brushstrokes. When I completed it, I cried, not from sadness, from gratitude. I hung it in the living room where everyone could see it. Sometimes late at night, I walked through the house and talked to her, told her about my day, about Claire's progress, about the life I was building. I liked to think she could hear me. The money had been distributed. Dad had taken his $150,000 and was traveling with Mom, Italy, Japan next. It was good to see them happy. I'd kept $100,000, investing it for security. The rest went to Claire's loan. It felt right, what Grandma would have wanted. Claire pulled up in her Honda, a far cry from the BMW. She got out carrying groceries, smiling. "Hey," she said. "I brought stuff for dinner. I thought we could cook together. Try one of Grandma's recipes." "That sounds perfect." We went inside. We pulled out Grandma's recipe box. We chose her lasagna. As we cooked, we talked about the kids, about my art classes, about Mom and Dad's trip. We laughed. We argued playfully over the recipe. We were just sisters, and I realized this was the real inheritance, not the house, or the money, but this, the opportunity to heal, to grow, to build something real. Grandma had given me so much more than a house. She'd given me a chance to step into myself fully, to believe I was worthy. She'd also given Claire a chance, a harsh one maybe, but real, to face her demons and change. And she'd given our family a chance to be honest. "I miss her," Claire said suddenly. "Every day." "Me too." "Do you think she'd be proud of us for working this out?" I thought about the video, about Grandma's face. "Yeah," I said. "I think she'd be proud." That night, after Claire left, I stood in the art studio and looked at Grandma's completed painting, a landscape, trees and sky, and a winding path, beautiful, hopeful. I picked up a brush, and my own canvas, and I started to paint, not copying her style, finding my own. The path wouldn't always be easy. Claire and I would have more conflicts. Money would be tight sometimes, but we'd face it honestly, together. I painted until midnight, and for the first time since Grandma died, I felt peace. She was gone, but not really. She was in this house, in my art, in the hard choices and second chances and messy work of being family. She was in the way Claire was trying to change, in the way I was learning to trust my worth. She'd left us more than money. She'd left us a map, a legacy of honesty and courage and love, and I was going to honor it. Every day. "Thank you, Grandma," I whispered, "for everything, for seeing me, for believing in me, for loving me enough to give me the hard gift of responsibility." The house settled around me. Familiar, welcoming, mine, and I knew I was exactly where I was supposed to be.